It became really apparent from a very, very young age that Ty was talented. I always worried about the streets. I'd heard about so many different things.
Ty didn't want to do anyone no wrong. He was never a violent person or anything like that either. She had a big mouth, you know what I mean? Like, for a small girl, you know.
He looked at me and he said, Sarah, I was genuinely scared. You know, for a teenage boy with a big boy persona, that is a lot.
Hi, my name is Ty. I'm a beatboxer. So I thought Britain's Got Talent might be able to bring me that big step forward.
Ty was a very fun person. He was light-hearted, a very happy character, funny, really funny. We definitely grew up together, without a doubt. Yeah, no, his granddad was, I'd say, one of his best friends. Spent so much time together.
When he used to go to his mates, he would go, oh, granddad said this, granddad said that. Oh, that's my granddad, yeah.
I didn't realise he was going and telling his friends about me, you know. But now, having met all of his friends, and they tell me what he used to say, he used to pick me up.
I'm just going to be showing you something on my beatboxing and what I can do with this pen.
He was such a character, with the life of the party kind of person. Like, you know, everyone that crossed paths with him wouldn't have a bad thing to say about him.
My baby love.
Girls loved him. Yeah, they did. They loved him a lot.
The first time I met Ty was when I was 14 at a fun fair. I remember that day like it was yesterday. He was wearing a green bomber jacket and jeans, and his smile just like radiated the room. He was tall, he had these bright green eyes. We both were laughing because we both had green eyes and it's quite rare.
There was a strong relationship as far as I could see. Like, you know, and Sarah was a lovely girl as well. You know, I could tell she wasn't doing him no harm or causing him any like grief or anything like that.
He always liked to write music. He was really into music. And he always used to like tell me his music or sing to me, or, you know, he used to do rapping. He used to like rap down the phone to me. It's really sweet.
He didn't just want to write the lyrics, he wanted to make the beats, he wanted to direct the videos, and that was what he was passionate about, and that was what was driving him in college, to be able to really learn all of the different elements of music, to be able to do things himself.
We split up because I had to go, I was going to go to college outside of London. My mum wanted me to focus on my studies, so that's what I did.
Kitchen, birthday boy, cooker, my grave. Oh my God, this is so good, Ty.
I was always so scared for him, you know. I always worried about the streets. He'd gone through situations where he had groups of boys coming to him, starting trouble, and I'd heard about so many different things, and I honestly thought that that was the greatest threat.
We didn't know anything about Kamila. We absolutely did not know anything about her.
From first impression of her, I wasn't too fond of her, to be honest. The way she was with Ty was always just a bit moody and just angry, and just the way she would talk to him was a bit disrespectful.
I think with Ty, if he was really interested in the girl and the girl was really nice, he would say, come, let's go to my nan and granddad's so I can introduce you.
But every time that question came up, I was met with the same response. It was an absolute no. It was, Mum, no, she's not on that level.
Then found out that she'd been to prison and she was a bit unsavoury. Not the sort of person we'd want Ty knocking around with.
Kamila Ahmad has a long history of violence and of convictions, even by the age of 21. She's already had 11 convictions for 17 offences.
Ty was way too good for her, man. Way too good for her. She was lucky to even have him and didn't even appreciate it when she did.
Naturally, things started to change quite quickly. It kind of went from okay to bad to worse.
I think there was one occasion I might have seen her sort of just slap his hand away or something like that, like little things like that, you know? But then I just thought Ty will deal with this and he'll get rid of her soon and he'll be happy days after that, you know?
And every time we tried to talk about her, he didn't want to engage. And he told us that, you know, he was with this crazy girl, that she's just crazy.
And it seemed that he had reached a point where he had, at that point, started to break it off a few times. And each time he broke it off, she would come back and make him feel guilty for it. But she was abusing herself in various different ways and blaming it on Ty and saying, Ty, look what you've done to me.
And he told us that she was always hitting herself, or she was trying to get him to hit her.
So December of 2020, Ty added me on Snapchat and I was quite surprised. I was like, oh, Ty. We started talking about, you know, like, how's your family, how's your mum, like what we're up to. And then we arranged to meet on the 6th of February, which we did. And it's just that day will replay on my mind because he was all grown up. I questioned about the girl and he looked at me and he said, Sarah, I was genuinely scared. And for Ty, you know, for a teenage boy with a big boy persona, that is a lot.
The last time I saw Ty was on Valentine's Day. He said, oh, guess what, Nan? He said, I'm gonna meet my girl today. I'm gonna spend Valentine's with my girl. He was spending the day with Sarah.
Yeah, Valentine's Day was such a lovely, lovely night. Like, a night that I'll never forget. Like, my Valentine's Day will never, ever be the same. I said, Ty, why are you squeezing me so much? And he said, oh, you don't know what I've been through.
I've been trying to get through to Ty and his phone had been off and I'd just not been able to get through to him. I went there looking for him and when I pulled up outside, Ty's window was smashed and had been boarded up, so I knew from the minute I pulled up, I knew something was wrong. He came to the door and I'll be honest, he wasn't very happy to see me. I said to him, are you safe? He said, yeah, of course I'm safe. Of course I'm safe. And with that, he pulled me forward and we hugged. And he got quite emotional at that point. And that was when he said to me, Mum, I feel lost. He said, I don't feel like myself. I feel lost, Mum. And he said, you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand what I'm dealing with. And I said, Ty, please, just tell me, you know, just tell me. I begged him, I said, Ty, please, just tell me what it is. I'm here, I'll help you, whatever it is, just tell me. But he kept just saying, Mum, please, just come back tomorrow. So I said to him that I would go and get some things that he needed. He had broken his phone. He explained that's why I couldn't get through to him. His phone was broken. I actually got a phone call a couple of hours later from the guy at the shop where the phone was. And he said, "Oh, Stacey, your son's here. He's just collecting the phone. Do you want to speak to him?" So I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Mum, listen, I love you." He said, "I love you, yeah, thank you." I said, "Thank you, yeah." I said, "All right." I said, "Ty, please just call me as soon as you can." I said, "Yeah, I love you, Mum. Bye." That was the last time we spoke. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'd been trying to call him. The police turned up and they said, they found it. And, it's a bit of a blur at that moment.
I dropped to the floor. And I was like, no, this can't be happening, it's not real. And I dropped to the floor and I was holding my stomach and I was crying and I said, no, this can't be real.
I was actually at work and I got a call from my mate Tom saying, telling me what happened, and I got angry at him saying, "Mate, this ain't something to joke about. Don't joke to me about this." He was crying down the phone to me and I just hung up on him because I knew it was true.
So I was thinking, no, this can't be true. This is all fake, it's not true. That day will haunt me, for the rest of my life. I was screaming.
I think at one point, Ty and her were out in the street. They were arguing. Ty was trying to calm her down. 1 minute she was outside the window, giving it the eyeball, and the next moment she wasn't. So they assumed that she'd gone away, but in fact what I think happened was she should have either climbed through the window or Ty had opened the door again.
And then she stabs him. She stabs him 4 times, and Ty's femoral artery is severed, and so he slowly bleeds out over the course of 30 minutes, which is a really long period of time. And actually, if she'd stopped and called an ambulance in that time, Ty could very well have survived. But she didn't. By the time that Ty was found, it was 12 hours later and he was dead.
You couldn't do that to somebody you love. You couldn't, especially Ty. And you don't call for help. And you do it 4 times. It's inhumane.
Immediately, the police launch a murder investigation and they're looking for Ahmad. They find her a couple of days later and they find blood-stained rucksack and other garments, and when they test it, it's a match for Ty.
There was a massive amount of things that I had to hear for the first time in court. The wounds that were inflicted, the size of the knife wounds, where they were precisely, how many of them there were. So many things. The amount of cleaning up that she did, how my son was found, naked. She'd washed his body. She'd attempted to clean so many things in the house.
I'm Alexandra Felix, King's Counsel. I was prosecution counsel in the case of Crown against Kamila Ahmad, which related to the killing of Ty O'Donnell. And we know he was stabbed inside his flat because the circumstances in which he was found. About 12 o'clock on the 3rd, the London Ambulance Service got a phone call from a neighbour who said she'd been walking past and seen that he was dead. Now, in fact, that was somebody that Kamila Ahmad knew. And that was caught on body-worn footage as police officers followed that neighbour back to her flat. And Kamila Ahmad was in that room, hiding in there. They didn't know what they were dealing with at the time. They didn't know who Kamila Ahmad was. And in fact, the neighbour friend passed Kamila Ahmad off as being her little sister. And then there was CCTV showing her making her way up to a friend's address. And it was very clear from the papers that physically she was much smaller than he was. She was not even 5 foot tall, I think. And so how does it come to be that this very small person ends up stabbing somebody who's much bigger?
She'd said he had his foot on my throat and I just picked up the nearest thing I could find and stabbed him in the leg. That was the defence.
She had sent a message to somebody at about 3:30 in the morning, which said, "Fam, I've stabbed someone and no one's helping clean him up," which we obviously said was an admission by her of having stabbed Ty O'Donnell and killed him.
On April 19th, 2023, Ahmad is found guilty and convicted of the murder of Ty Jordan O'Donnell.
One of our friends
so
was so happy that she stood up and she said, "What in hell, bitch?"
And the judge said, I'll overlook that last comment because he understood, you know, we'd been 2 years coming to trial and we'd been living with that all that time.
I was really emotional because for me, justice will be having Ty walk through the door. But justice is never going to be served.
I want her dead. And I feel like that's the only thing that will ever really maybe make me feel a little bit better, would be to know that she died just as slowly and just as painfully as she left my son to, because that's what she did. She stood in that room, watched him die. She watched my baby die.
I think about that moment all the time. I think about our last goodbye. I wish I held him. I wish I squeezed him for longer. I wish I never let go. I wish I never said goodbye.
I always try to visit his grave as much as I can. Find it hard to go and visit him because, you know, it's just not where I want to see him, you know.
You think about, well, what's your child going to look like when they reach certain ages and stuff, you know? And it's just not going to go any further. There will be no visions of him growing old. I wanted to watch him grow old.
It's been a new thing for me. I've not really heard of domestic violence on men. It's normally on women. And also for a man, they don't want to be seen like a woman is being manipulative, as being violent.
Speak up, you know, don't try to play it down.
He'd say things like, "Love you, Grandad." She meant the world to me. He said things like, "You make me laugh, Grandad." He was a happy guy. He was a happy guy. Didn't deserve what happened.
No, man. Gonna watch a film. Probably go to bed, if I'm not gonna lie.
Before my eyes even open, sometimes I'm crying. And the second I wake up, I cry myself to sleep. It's torture. I feel like I'm doing a jail sentence. I feel like my life has turned into a lifelong sentence. It's never going to end. It's never going to get easier. I'm never going to get my baby back. So, yeah, she's ruined my life.